In this video, I want to talk about how to nail the Preply trial lesson and how to get the most students that you can without coming off as too strong. Teaching English online, where I can set my own hours and set my own rate, has allowed me to live a nomadic lifestyle centered around health and surf. In the last 3 years, I've given 1,568 lessons, met 114 students, and I've earned over $37,000. So when it comes to your trial lesson, it's really important to remain respectfully detached and not too thirsty to have them subscribe. I understand that you may be starting Preply because your bank account is looking really low. You feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck and never getting ahead. So the pressure starts to build. You really need to make sure that doesn't go onto the student's plate, and that's completely your own problem that they don't even feel. I've done it myself. It's easy to become nervous, start stumbling your words, and come off as way too strong. As you guys sit and talk and meet for the first time, sit back and support them in whatever they're trying to share, in whatever decision that they want to make, and it'll actually make them more likely to pick you. This works almost like many Buddhist meditations. No matter how good something seems, do not let yourself crave it, and no matter how bad something seems, do not let yourself be averse to it. Good things in life may lead to something bad that's connected to it, and something negative in life may lead to something good. I recently made a video about my gratitude for endometriosis. It really sucks that it took me 16 years to be able to figure out everything I need to do as the disease progressed. But on the other hand, being undiagnosed made me become a traveler and pursue my really physically rigorous dreams, such as going to Everest Base Camp or hiking for 5 weeks on the Annapurna circuit. These things that once I figured out my suspected endometriosis, I just didn't even think about these kinds of adventures anymore. Every year, these places change, and I'm really happy I did them when I did them and became who I became. The trial lesson also comes with some principles of negotiation and the psychological processes that come along with that. The best feeling you could ask for is if your student taking the trial lesson feels like it was their decision and their idea why you're the best one and why you're going to be their tutor, even if you are helping them get there without directly saying it. In business negotiation, this is called reframing, where you let the other side lead themselves to your conclusion. As you work towards being a premium tutor that's highly paid, you definitely want to give off a lot of self-respect. It's that attitude and that confidence that you have a lot of options, you don't need this one student, and if they just want to join you and your existing circle of amazing students that get to experience you and your teaching, that keeps you from being desperate and makes sure that you're welcoming. This is almost like a scarcity signal, which builds urgency and builds trust in you as a new potential tutor. You want to make sure that the student feels like they are truly liked and truly respected, and the more that they feel respected, the more they're going to respect your cancellation policy. They're less likely to be late, and they're more likely to leave a 5-star review. So over the course of 25 or 50 minutes where you have your shot to impress this student who might book you for a subscription, you want to make it clear that you're looking for the right fit for you and you're not just taking everyone who comes your way. This reflects dating principles, where a lot of studies have shown that being selective also shows that you have a lot of options, and being hard to get a little bit makes you more desirable. So throughout this whole trial lesson, your vibe is the sweet spot combo of warmth, respect, and selectivity. Moving on to a little document that I like to have up on my screen in another tab that the student can't see, just to guide me with some structure through the trial lesson. This really helps me avoid awkward silences and keep things smooth and confident for me on my side. I have given 114 trial lessons over the years and really landed on this handy dandy little Google Doc. It's so simple. It's just a simple list, and I can't tell you how many times that I forgot to introduce myself to these students because I see the student immediately jumping into their pain points and starting to elaborate their English goals, and we completely forget about a little bit more about me. And so that's an example of something that I just completely forget when I don't have this document like right in my face. I do think a quick 3-sentence introduction about me, what I like to do, where I'm based, how I ended up here in Vietnam, does really help build me into a full-blown character, and it creates a window of opportunity for relatability and common interests with the student. This is also a chance where I can confirm any profile details. I often get asked, am I actually American? Was I born there? So basically this little document starts with, go ahead and introduce yourself, and I introduce myself, and the next line is, so how can I help you here in Preply? Because of course everyone wants to just sound like me. I think at the end of the day, the goal is to sound like you, but how realistic is that, and what's the timeline for that is up for discussion, and how much they're gonna do on their own and what they're really looking for with you and how much correction they want is the part to be answered here, because then you can start to think about, oh, I want to show them this tool and this trick that we use to help keep conversations on different topics, or I don't need to show that, they may just want to free chat the whole class, so I'm just going to make sure that I simulate that. After that, I like to ask, where would you like to see your English in 3 months? Goal setting is so powerful and underrated, and researchers have found that people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to actually do them. Having another person accountable, such as me, the tutor, where they say their goal to that person and this person who's listening can see every week their progress, further increases the chances of actually reaching that goal. I write it at the top of a Google document that will later be their notes tracker for all their errors. Seeing it right then and there and starting to manifest it and bring it to life with you in a trial lesson starts to turn the gears, and it creates this conscious or subconscious appreciation for you as a tutor in the trial lesson and more likelihood to actually pick you. And then here's something I always ask that is just for me to know. My availability is all waking hours of the day, so I always ask, ideally, what time and how often would you like to have class? Because I've had students come saying they need class every day, and I've had others say once a week, and I actually feel relieved when it's once a week because the students who stay for years are all at about once a week. It's really hard to find more time. A lot of them are parents and business owners. As a Preply student myself, it is impressive to be able to hold the consistency of an hour a week for a foreign language. The final part of a trial lesson you can't say no to is the simulation. If it's a 15-minute trial lesson, this takes place usually in the last 20 to 25 minutes, so a good half-ish of the trial lesson will be simulating what an actual class with me is actually like. I lead into this by saying, do you have any more questions about anything or about your English before we simulate a regular lesson? And this is where you can feel the student getting really excited because they're like, no, let's do it. I'm not sure how, but in the past I didn't always do this. I just tried to drag out the getting to know each other, trying to talk about something without actually fully simulating. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to be hard on you about your mistakes. I'm going to teach you something new so you have something to walk away with. And that's crazy to me now because it's so much more unforgettable for the other person when they just get a plain taste of you as a teacher. So a little sample is a business principle. Before commitment, letting the other person test your value makes them way more likely to want it. They're already visualizing their whole life in future, the new person they would be once they have the service or the product, such as driving the new car. When they test drive the car, they're already seeing how other people will see them differently, how they'll pull up to work, pull into their driveway, and show off to their neighbors. So in this case, your service, your tutoring is the car, and this is the test drive. I have built a career on my reputation for being able to effectively interrupt a student on every little grammar mistake or instance of sounding unnatural as they speak to me in English. According to them, it's nearly impossible to find in a tutor. At this point in a trial lesson, when we're starting the simulation, I share my screen, and usually the conversation is already really flowing and there's something specific to start talking about and making corrections on. Otherwise, I'll just say, what's a new hobby that you've recently gotten really into? Tell me more about it. I stop them either right in the middle of their sentence or right after the sentence or the point that they're making. Every single time they mispronounce something, they miss an S, they mix up singular and plural, or they use the wrong sort of preposition or verb to make this verb phrase. I write out exactly that mistake. I do Command-Shift-X to strike through that mistake, and then next to it in all caps or in bold, I put the correct way to say it or the better sounding way to say it. I love this document, this in-your-face correction, because according to Pavio's dual coding theory, this is going to activate our brain's visual and verbal systems of information coding that are actually both interconnected. So it's going to create a lot stronger of memory pathways and therefore stronger learning and results. And you can even think about this right here in this video. If I was just giving the audio of all this information, it would make a lot less of an impact on you and change you and your teaching a lot less than having it all in a video, where I make it easier for you to visualize what I'm actually saying. Now we're getting to the end of the trial lesson. Like in the last 5 minutes, you want to end on a strong note, and I always like to pick this one thing that they should take away. Like they're saying, I used to live in US, and they need to say I used to live in the US. Taking away one thing from every class instead of trying to remember all the errors that they made. Over time will be a lot of progress. On top of that, I like to leave a new expression that we naturally came across. Just a rewording of something they said. Students can't get enough of new expressions. At the end of the trial lesson, I just say, it was so lovely to meet you today. I hope you have a great rest of the day. That way I leave it open-ended. They're not told anything. They're shown how I am. They feel very comfortable to make the decision that's best for them. If they don't subscribe, you really don't know why, and the chance is so high that they just lost their motivation or forgot or couldn't commit. It has nothing to do with the tutor. If you enjoyed this video, check out my video I recently made about some baby habits that helped me become a highly paid tutor, where I go over subtle things that really made me teach better and show up better and able to charge more for my time, such as staying hydrated, what to wear, and other little things that really add up and impact your confidence over time. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you with your next first trial. I know it can be stressful to not even know who's going to show up on the other side of the camera. It can be a moment of pressure, but you really want to deflate that building pressure and use these guiding principles to come off as the incredible tutor that you are.